It was the afternoon when, after finishing your work, you were sitting on the couch reading a book just to freshen up your mind. Your maid came there. Ma'am, Mr. Junghyun is here. Before she could finish saying that, he already walked in with a grin on his face. Don't treat me like an outsider. I'm a part of this family and I think I can come here whenever I want to. Am I wrong, dear sister-in-law? He said, looking at you while you stood up, keeping the book aside and forced a smile. Of course. He walked near while the maid bowed and left to bring some beverages. Jungkook turned towards you and you could feel a little uncomfortable by the way he looks at you. It always gives you weird vibes, but because he's your brother-in-law, you can't even ignore him. Jungkook is still not home. He walked near the couch before sitting, but his eyes were on you and you could feel the uneasiness growing inside you. I'm not even surprised. Does he even come home? You didn't say anything while he chuckled. I really don't understand how someone can be so innocent, like you really don't mind. You raised an eyebrow, not understanding what he was trying to say. Mind what? Living this way, completely ignored and miserable when you deserve the world, a perfect partner, and you really okay with Jungkook treating you like this? He got up before coming near you. I mean, think about it. You also left someone you loved, but still you are trying to give your best. You are moving on for whom? For someone who doesn't care about your emotions? For someone who still has feelings for another woman? That's not fair. You deserve better. You always felt uncomfortable around him, and the fact that for some reason he always tried to bring his brother down whenever he meets you. You just don't get that. This is our personal matter. Of course, it wasn't easy for any of us to forget what happened, so we are giving time to each other. He laughed, making you feel a bit angry. Time? You're so innocent, Ryan. He's not even interested in you. What are you even thinking? You got up from your place. It's okay. By the way, since he's not home, you can come another time. He started taking steps closer to you. The distance was decreasing more than it should, and you could see a lust in his eyes. You are so beautiful, Ryan. Don't waste this beauty on someone who doesn't value it. He tried to touch your cheek, but you stepped backwards. What the hell do you think you are doing, huh? He smiled, playing innocent. I'm telling you your words, sweetheart. Mind your language. If I tell your brother about this, you have no idea what he would do with you. He laughed. As if he cares. Believe me, he won't even take it seriously, and that's why I'm telling you, he's not worth giving a chance. He loves someone else. I will keep you happy. He said, pulling you closer by your arm, but you jerked his hand and slapped him. I can't believe you're such a low character. Leave. Your eyes were burning with anger, but he couldn't digest the slap that easily and came to you like a hungry lion. He grabbed your arm so tightly that you hissed in pain, and then he pulled you over him. You tried to free yourself from his grip. Leave me. You will pay for this slap. Right then the maid came there and she froze on her place when she saw Junghyun forcing him on you, while you were struggling to fight in your defense. Sir, what are you doing? She rushed to you while Junghyun pulled away when he saw her, but his eyes were still dark. I'll definitely going to lower this attitude of yours. He left from there while wiping his lips. There were tears in your eyes. The maid helped you in sitting. Ma'am, are you okay? You didn't say anything and went to your room before locking yourself. After a few hours, Jungkook came back home from work and the silence in the mansion was more than usual. He looked at the maid who lowered her eyes. She looked tensed and worried. Usually you were in the living room doing your work or just reading a book, but the room was empty. Is everything okay? Why there is so much tension? And where is Vian? The maid looked hesitant and nervous, but she decided to tell him everything that happened in his absence. Ma'am has locked herself in her room. Jungkook frowned after hearing that. Why? What happened? Usually he doesn't pay attention, but when he heard that, he got concerned. Your brother came and he... She paused without finishing her sentence. He what? What did he do? Tell me. He shouted, making her flinch, and then she explained everything to him. Jungkook's jaw clenched with anger. His eyes turned dark with rage as he heard everything. Since then, she's locked inside her room. She doesn't look well. I'm worried, sir. Without wasting a second, Jungkook ran upstairs, throwing his bag and keys on the floor. You were in your room. Your eyes have turned red and puffy with continuous crying. You already took a bath so many times trying to clean every place he touched. You felt so disgusting, so disrespected. You never let anything, any bad intentions towards Jungkook affect you, but today you have realized how lonely and helpless you are, how you can't even tell him what his own brother did to you. Wine, open the door. You flinched slightly when there was a few desperate knocks on the door and you heard Jungkook's voice, who sounded urgent and desperate. You felt like crying even more. Wine, please, open the door. You stayed there letting him knock, plead, because your anger was on its peak. You forgot to differentiate between right and wrong. Your mind was blaming him for all this, but your heart knows that it's not true. Wine, let's talk about it, please. Let me in. You walked to the door and opened it only to see him standing there panicked and worried. He looked at you and his heart clenched seeing your condition. Your arm was red and bruised, as it was clear you tried to rub every trace of Junghyun's touch. His eyes met your red and puffy eyes. Wyan, you didn't say anything, just stood there while tears dropping from your eyes without even trying. I'm so sorry. I'm also feeling sorry for myself. I wish I have someone I could tell what happened with me. Guilt washed over him. He was so angry and guilty. I'm not going to let it go easily. He grabbed your hand and without saying anything walked you downstairs with him. You were completely clueless and confused. Jungkook entered the John mansion with you. He looked furious than you have ever seen him. You were not expecting him to act like this for you. You actually believe that he doesn't care and hates you, but the way his body tensed, the way his eyes turned dark with rage and anger, you have realized that you were right about him before every other person tried to change your mindset. He may not love you, and it's not that easy because it's been only a month since you both got married, and considering the fact that it was a forced marriage and somewhere deep, you're also not completely over from your past, although you're trying to move on and accept a new life. On the other hand, it's hard to say anything about Jungkook because he's a very reserved type of person, so you were just being patient and giving time to yourself and him, also because if this marriage doesn't work, you already plan to give him divorce. Jungkook? His mother was surprised to see Jungkook and you coming unexpectedly, but most of all, the anger in Jungkook's eyes. He left her hand and looked at his mother. Where is he? His mom was confused as she looked at you and then back at him before standing up. Who are you talking about and what happened, son? Why are you in such anger? Before she could finish saying, Jungkook already spotted Junghyun coming downstairs with his father. He raised an eyebrow when he saw Jungkook and you. Without wasting a second, Jungkook ran upstairs and pulled his brother by his collar before throwing a punch on his face, making everyone shocked. Jungkook, what are you doing? Jungkook grabbed Junghyun's neck. What do you think you were doing, huh? How dare you to touch YN? He shouted and his parents looked at each other confused. They have no idea what was happening. Even you were shocked. Jungkook didn't listen to anyone, even his father who tried to separate them. He kept hitting Junghyun until he was bleeding. He dragged him downstairs and started beating him. Jungkook, stop, have you gone crazy? Junghyun was trying to fight back, but he was nothing in front of his brother's strength. What did you think, huh? I'll let you go that easily after you do such a gross thing to her. He almost broke his hand and everyone including you gasped. Jungkook, leave him. Security. She called the security and they came and somehow managed to separate. Jungkook was still in rage. His father looked at him. Have you lost your mind? What the hell are you doing? Beating your own brother so mercilessly? Mrs. John rushed near Junghyun. Call the ambulance. Be grateful that I didn't kill him. How dare he touch YN with those dirty hands? Mr. and Mrs. John looked surprised. What? You lowered your eyes when they looked at you. Whoa, so now the husband inside you suddenly woke up, huh? He said, standing up. Who are you to get furious if someone touch her or not? Who are you fooling by reacting like you care? You don't even love her, do you? Jungkook's heart dropped. He looked at you and saw the pain mixed with tears. He felt so guilty. He knew what you think of him. But things have changed now. He was trying to figure out how to tell you. He knew he had hurt you and no explanation can define it. She's trying to adjust even when she left someone she loved. But you're after someone who doesn't even know your feelings and then you claim to care, huh? Jungkook went near him and grabbed his collar. Whatever it is, it's between us. If ever you dare to even look at my wife, just know that it would be the last day of your life. The moment he called you his wife, you looked at him surprised. You never imagined hearing this word from him. He left his collar and turned towards you before holding your hand and walked outside, leaving three of them standing there. As soon as you came outside the mansion, you stopped and left Jungkook's hand, making him turn to look at you, and he noticed tears in your eyes. He knew he had so much to explain. He came near you. Why? I know this was not easy for you, and I'm sorry, but I promise this will never happen again. I'll make sure of it. You were looking at him in disbelief. I wish I could be sure about what is even happening in my life. I wish I could figure out who loves me and not. I don't even think this would have happened if everything was clear between us. He walked towards the car before sitting inside, leaving him alone. Those words hold so much power and Jungkook realized how you have been hurting all this time. He walked towards the car before you drove off to your mansion. You and Jungkook got married under very uncertain circumstances, where you both had no choice but to accept your fate and this marriage. You had to break up with a guy you have been dating for 2 years because no matter what you tried, you couldn't escape this marriage. And your family is so influential that you know that they could have done anything to him if you didn't accept this marriage. They would have destroyed him completely, or worse, they would have not leave him alive. So to save him and for his well-being, with a heavy heart you sacrificed your love and happiness. You broke up although it was very hard for you. You accepted your fate and left him for his own good. On the other hand, Jungkook had his heart for someone, although he never confessed, but he was waiting for the right time. He wanted to marry her, but his destiny was written with you. That's the reason he was so distant and cold, trying to accept and figure out his feelings, because now he can't do anything. And the fact that you were already in a relationship and also met your lover a few times even after the marriage made the walls around him even stronger. Although you only met him to tell him that you don't want to be the end of his life and wanted to see him happy, and that's why for better you have accepted this marriage and trying to move on, but Jungkook was unsure of this. He remained cold and reserved. After you came back home, you were going straight in your room when Jungkook called your name. Junghyun. You stopped but didn't turn towards him. He came behind you. Whatever happened today, I know I was responsible somewhere. You slowly turned towards him. His eyes were sincere and you knew whatever he was saying came out of honesty. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. In fact, we both are in a place where we don't know what is happening in our lives. We don't know what we want, where to start, what to expect, and who to love. His heart clenched, but he accepted that you were right and mature. But we need to figure it out. We need to find answers to all these questions. We were thrown into this situation where no one else but only we can come out of this. There was a short pause before he continued. I accepted. I was in love with someone and this marriage was like an end point for me. I hated myself for not speaking up for myself. But then you were in the same situation. In fact, you had to leave the man you loved. I never let the person I love know that I'm in love. But you have to leave him, and that's what made me think that I can never take that place in your heart. I was not sure if this marriage even work out. Neither do I, but our destiny was like this. He took a step closer to you. Then let's try. Let's give it a chance because it's better than living this way. Your heart skipped a beat and you looked surprised. If we were really meant to be together, then let's stop hurting each other unknowingly. Let's make it work out. Tears built in your eyes. It's not going to be easy. He came closer and cupped your face. This was the first time you felt his touch and it was so warm and comforting. That's what it will make us strong. Let's try our best so that if things didn't go as planned, at least there won't be any regrets. You nodded. And I'm so sorry. I still can't forgive myself that you have to go through all that. But I promise that it will never happen again. No one can even look at you that way and I'll make sure of it. You nodded. I trust you. He pulled you in a gentle hug and you both felt so relieved after clearing all the misunderstandings and whatever feeling you were keeping inside yourselves. It felt strangely good.